suppose my first question is, what are the overall policies that you have in your classroom related to cell phones, behavior, and things like that?
Well, I keep most of my class rules posted so that you can see them all the time. Cell phones are a big thing here. We have a school policy that they should not have their cell phones out, and we have an entire structure of how to do it. I tend to kind of bypass the structure a little bit and just the policy is you give them a warning, they put their phone away. If they take it back out again, you have to call home. If they take it out again, you give them a referral and they're sent to the office. Kids have their phones out all the time, so rather than go through that whole process with them, my policy is I have a phone box over there that is just for phones. If they are on their phone, they have their one warning, and then every time it just goes in the box and they can get it back at the end of class. If it becomes a big issue, then I will refer them to the office and call home, but usually having to put their phone away for the class, they don't like that, so they will usually put it away right away.
Okay. So next is a question of overall classroom management. If you have a student who doesn't put their phone away when asked, for example, what are the steps that you take to, control that behavior and manage it?
Right, so I would originally say, this is your warning, you must put it away. If they don't put it away, then usually I will send them with a FAR, which is our first step before a referral for misbehavior. They're supposed to go to another room, fill out a form and a reflection on why they chose to do whatever misbehavior they've done, and come back, and they're supposed to come back with a fresh start and move on. A lot of the kids see it more as a penalty though, so they come back and sometimes they're grumpy. If they refuse to go to FAR or they come back and the behavior doesn't change, then it would escalate and it would turn into a referral and they would have to leave, and when they go to the office they're going to confiscate their phone anyway. So most students, when they get to that point, I can warn them, if you don't do this, you're going to get a referral, or you could just make the better choice, put your phone in the box and we can move on with our day. Most students are just going to choose to put their phone in the box. They might not be happy about it, but they'll make the right choice. Occasionally there's a student who is just really obstinate and they won't do it, and then I just write them the referral and send them
And
on
they'll
their
go
way.
out of the room. Gotcha. So from what I understand, the classroom management is warning and then FAR. After the FAR, or if it escalates, from there, it goes to a referral.
Yes.
Are there any behaviors that will skip that process and go straight from behavior to
Yes.
referral?
So if it's aggressive behavior where they are calling someone names or using foul language directed at someone, or there's a fight or something like that, then that would bypass it all and it would just be a referral and they would just go immediately to the office.
Okay. So what general philosophy do you adhere to when it comes to your teaching? What sort of classes do you like to have? Interactions with the students, student-centered work, teacher-centered lectures, how do your classes generally run?
Well, this is my 13th year teaching, so I've kind of figured out that I can't lecture for the whole class. I also can't have them do group work for the whole class or independent work. It has to be a mesh of a number of different things. There needs to be a variety of ways to learn, especially because each kid is going to be learning differently. One thing that I really try to do is make class fun and interesting. So I remember way back when I was in school, I retained the most information from classes that I enjoyed, and I enjoyed those classes because I had fun in those classes. So I try to make this class fun in order to get kids to retain the information that they do in here. So that's really like my staple. Everything that I do, I try to think the most creative way I can do it and give that to the kids.
So games and projects and things that allow the kids to be creative and integrate the material.
Absolutely.
On the way. Okay. Can you just give me a quick introduction to the 3 classes that you have?
So my first block class is a collaborative class with Mr. Jones and now with you. So there are 3 of us. We have 6 kids in there who require services, so it may be like read aloud services. So what we tend to do is if we're doing things in class that require reading, we usually just read them aloud so that we can catch everyone and not have to send some people out and then wait for them to come back. So there's a lot of our big things like stories, short stories or novels, we do a lot of reading aloud in class, mostly teacher read aloud, because the kids in that class also tend to not have a good structure or a good
flow when they read.
when they're reading, and it gets other kids off task and they can't understand what's going on either. So it's usually teacher led, or I play a CD for them. Third block is much the same way. They're another collaborative class. but the majority of the kids in that class require services. So there are 21 kids in third block classes, 16 of them get services. So when we have to do small group, it is a little bit more difficult to try to figure that out. So we have to use Resource, which is a class that we have where students with disabilities can go to get extra help, as well as Mr. Jones pulling kids out or me pulling kids out.
Right.
Second block is a general education class, so they don't need as many services, but what I'm finding with the second block is that a lot of them are kind of lower as far as their abilities, so they do get a little more structure than I would normally do in a general education setting.
Okay. So I know that we're moving into a new unit, the drama unit. Can you walk me through the major components of that unit?
So the drama unit, our drama unit centers around Antigone, but before they can read Antigone, they need to read the previous 2 plays. So we usually do a quick summary of those plays. We pretty much have it set, but every year we look over the things that we have already taught and how we taught it and see if we can make it a little bit better, a little more interesting, something to make it more fun for the kids, and hopefully they learn it. They generally do like Antigone because it's full of drama, so I get excited about this unit as well. We're just coming off of our research unit, which the kids aren't very excited about, so moving into drama and it being exciting too should really make them pay attention and be involved in everything that we're doing for the unit.
Lots of more creative opportunities as well with a drama unit rather than research. There's only so many ways you can do a works cited page.
Yes. So with the drama unit, there's usually a component where they have to kind of draw in order to paraphrase the sections of the previous 2 plays before Antigone. And then when we get to Antigone, we have questions, and in the past we've put the students in groups and they have answered the questions as groups and kind of made it a competition. But I know that you and I have already talked about maybe adding some stuff into the unit and making it a little bit more creative. So I think that we're going to move towards that and see if we can make it creative, but also a little bit more structured and kind of move them up on the scale so they have to work a little bit harder for it, but they don't know it because it's going to be fun.
Right, exactly. And how long is this unit going to run?
It usually runs as about 2 weeks, sometimes 2.5 by the time we get the test in.
Okay, great.